Turn that volume up. You know you want it. It's time for Women's Basketball TV with former NCAA champion, WNBA champion, business mogul, and national TV personality, Fran Harris. Let's get it.
It's today we've all been waiting for. That's right. Tax day, April 15th. Okay, just joking, because most of y'all are going to file extensions. We already know that. How many of you, raise your hand, how many of you are filing your taxes today? Most of you. I bet 80% of you are filing extensions. But this is draft day 2024 WNBA. We all know most of these people have been anticipating this day since the beginning of the college women's basketball season back in November. And this is it. This is going to be a fun WNBA season, partly because of the personalities that are coming out of college. Let's go ahead and jump into this analysis of the WNBA draft 2024. Let me tell you how I'm going to do this just to keep it a little organized, even though this is off the dome. I'm going to talk about upside, downside, and intangibles, because those are the three categories that, for me, make this conversation a little bit more organized. So let's jump in with the number one pick in the WNBA draft in 2024, none other than Caitlin Clark. No surprise to anybody. But what we haven't done is to really break down Caitlin's transition to the WNBA. I'm actually going to be on Scripps after the draft. If you want to go to Scripps, SCRIPPS, if you want to go to their YouTube channel, I'm going to be doing live analysis after the draft about the picks. So let's get back to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, for some reason, the religiosity, and I've said this on my channel numerous times, we get so religious about coaches and players that sometimes we look at them with rose-colored glasses. We can't see their true upside and downside because all we're focusing on is the upside. With Caitlin Clark, obviously, nobody needs me to say that she's a tremendous shooter. We know that she's a tremendous shooter, but the upside of that, the impact that will have on the Indiana Fever, obviously, is that it's going to stretch the floor. People who were double, triple teaming and quadruple teaming Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith. Oh, those two names kind of got me right there. Nalissa Smith. I mean, you can't do that with a shooter who has 30-foot range. You can't do it. Okay, so a shooter who's going to be shooting from 30 feet is going to command a different level of attention, obviously. But we don't usually talk about what that really means. We just talk about, oh, they can't really double. No, literally, they're going to have to do one-on-one coverage of the post players because Caitlin Clark will torch them if they don't. So the upside, obviously, is not only does Caitlin Clark get to command this attention, but she makes her team better instantly just by being on the floor. Now, even before we get to her skills, just by being the shooting threat she is, it changes the dynamics defensively for teams that are facing the Fever. And obviously, offensively, we know what Caitlin is going to bring. I will go over that for anybody who's new here, but the range she has, but not just the range, because Caitlin didn't shoot a great percentage. It is her deadly attention to the fact that she is one of the most prolific and dangerous assassins that we've ever seen. It is the fact that she doesn't care that she's shooting 2 of 14 at any particular time in the game. She is going to keep shooting, and ultimately she is going to start making. So we don't know anybody. Yes, there are great shooters in the WNBA. Nobody like Caitlin Clark. Upside, we talked about. Downside of Caitlin Clark right now as we look at her heading into the WNBA is she's going to have to defend at a different level. Now, when I attempted to share this on the channel many times over the college season, the Caitlinites would come in and tell me how great she was at all the other stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. But she's still going to have to up her game. There will be a slight learning curve, both physically and mentally, for Caitlin in the WNBA. Anybody who thinks that there's not going to be a learning curve is smoking some good stuff. There's going to be a learning curve. Number one, Caitlin's going to have to guard faster, bigger, quicker, stronger players. Doesn't matter. That's a fact. That's for every rookie who gets into the league. Yes, you can say what you want to say about the WNBA. They are faster, quicker, stronger, better players. And much to y'all chagrin, some of y'all chagrins about what Diana Taurasi said, these are grown women who've been playing professional basketball for 2 decades, many of them. So Caitlin's going to have to adjust defensively. Now, the great thing about Caitlin is that, she's not a shrimp. She's not short. She's got some length on her. So she will be able to compensate for some of that. And she will get to play a little bit more physically in the WNBA. But she's going to have to learn to guard bigger players, faster players, better players, more athletic players every single night. And they're coming in waves, because it's not just the first 5, whoever she's guarding in the first 5 of the team she's facing. It's the next 5. It's the next person, the person who comes in, the person who slides over from another position, who may present different problems defensively. That's what Caitlin Clark is up against. The defensive nature of the game in the WNBA. Not going to say it's going to give Clark some trouble, but there will be an adjustment. All right, so there we go. We got the upside, we got the downside, the intangibles of Caitlin Clark. I got to do a whole video on this. The intangibles of Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about the fan support. Iowans coming over to support. I hope today that they announce that they sell out their season tickets. The Las Vegas Aces became the first team to sell out their season tickets. Will the Indiana Fever be the next team to sell out their season tickets? We shall see. I hope that happens for our game. I hope it happens for Caitlin. And I anticipate that will happen. I don't know how that's not going to happen, but those are one of the intangibles. Obviously, the impact she's had on the business of the WNBA already is tangible. The impact she had on women's basketball, college women's basketball, incredible. So those intangibles will continue to make the WNBA a product that people should pay attention to. All right, moving on. That's number 1. Upside, downside, and intangibles. Number 2, second pick going to the Los Angeles Sparks. Everyone's saying that this is going to be Cameron Brink. I'll tell you what. I would take Camila Cordoro, but that's another story. Cameron Brink, we understand. Cameron Brink was having a great season. Had a great season last year. On fire this year. In my opinion, fizzled out. And therefore, her draft stock for me as a GM goes down. Los Angeles obviously getting the 2nd and the 4th pick. So they may get both of their players. Why are they taking Cam Brink and leaving Camila Cordoro out there? Right? Why are they doing that? What are you thinking about that? Not crazy about the pick with Cam Brink. I would take Cam Brink possibly 4th or even lower. Well, you say, well, why do you think Cam Brink is being chosen? There are a couple reasons. Let's keep it a buck for a second. Let's talk about Cam Brink's package as a player. Let's talk about Cam Brink's package includes playing at Stanford. Now, some of you think, well, what does it have to do? Okay, yeah, well, where you play matters. Where you played and who you played for matters. People start to look at analytics when it comes to, okay, what have players who have played in this system for these kinds of coaches in these institutions, what have they done not only in college, but also what have players who come from those institutions done in the pros? The first 2 people who come to my mind when I think of Stanford are the Ogwumikes, Nneka Chiney Ogwumike. There's the jury still out on Chiney, but Nneka Ogwumike, as we know, who got traded to the Seattle Storm, is going to be a Hall of Famer one day. We already know that. The impact she's had on the WNBA in many regards is undeniable. So Chiney Ogwumike out of Stanford, do you compare that? You can't possibly compare the development of players in certain colleges, and that's what sometimes GMs look at. So from that standpoint, I get the Cameron Brink selection at number 2. If I look at pure production, pure performance, the last 2 months of the season, Cam Brink does not get picked at number 2 for me. Let's keep it moving. Number 3, Chicago Sky, Teresa Weatherspoon, Hall of Famer out of Louisiana Tech in 1988. Chicago Sky from Phoenix, they're thinking Ria Jackson, 6'2" forward. Ria Jackson is, in my opinion, the most dangerous player in the WNBA draft. The most pro-ready game of anybody in the WNBA draft. 6'2" forward out of Tennessee. Tennessee fizzled out at the end, but Jackson averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds per game. People keep talking about how tough the SEC is. Okay. All right. Well, she did it in one of the toughest conferences. Can get a shot. That's what makes her extremely pro ready for the WNBA game. Shot creator, off the bounce, one of the best athletes, and extremely intelligent player, decision maker. Had 33 and 10 in her final game against NC State. Physically ready for the WNBA. Upside, I just gave it to you. Downside, everybody has a learning curve in the WNBA. If there is an area of Ria Jackson's game that I think might be a downside, I think her three will need to improve. Obviously, you can't take the bodying of putting the ball on the floor and getting to the hole and absorbing that contact for 40 plus games a season in the WNBA. So I think that needs to improve. I also believe her inconsistency in the game, but that could be because she sat out some. Nevertheless, I do believe her talent is incredible, and I do believe she will translate immediately. Does the Sky need her? The Chicago Sky just need to get their build on. They need to get their rebuild going, and this is a huge piece of a rebuild if they go that direction. Los Angeles Sparks at number 4. Camila Cordoro, 6'7" center. Like literally, how do you pass up on 6'7"? But I already said that. She would be my number 2. Not only because she's 6'7", but because she's got a post-ready game for the WNBA. True post player. Right? And true post player for the Los Angeles Sparks. If they take them, that's with the pick from Seattle. True post player. Unstoppable. Nobody's been able to do anything with Camila Cordoro at any time during the season. So there's an argument that she might end up being, being the number 2 pick, possibly. But I have not heard anything about them not taking Brink at number 2. Can be the focal point advantages. Upside could be the focal point of the offense. I thought that I called I called 2 or 3 of the Los Angeles Sparks games for the Dallas Wings last year. And the thing that for me is missing is a post player who knows she's a post player, right? There are usually post players who don't really want to play on the block because that's traditional women's basketball game. Are we moving away from that? Well, if you're 6'7", I mean, if you have face-up skills, and certainly have face-up skills, but Camila Cordoro is unapologetically a post player. And so you got an identity, you got the strength in her identifying as a post player, and I think that is a positive for the Los Angeles Sparks. Moving on, that's number 4. Number 5, Dallas Wings from Chicago take a pick. I'm hearing JC Sheldon, that moved up, I think, because of her performance. JC moved up because of her performance in NCAA tournament. She's a dynamic player, 5'10" guard out of Ohio State. In folks' minds, JC Sheldon is a dynamic player, can shoot the 3 ball, is extremely competitive. This is all the upside, right? Extremely competitive, and has the ability to really spread the floor. What I like about this pick, if Dallas goes in this direction, is that there needs to be some serious substitution thought for Arike Ogunbowale, also for Satu Sabali, right? Those players played heavy minutes. By the way, I'm calling 20 Dallas Wings games, so I'll be your go-to for the Dallas Wings as the season gets going. But they played heavy minutes. I hate to see players playing heavy minutes with the schedule that the WNBA has, and they don't want to come out of the floor. That's every player's position and disposition. But you can't win championships with 4 players in the WNBA. You can't do it. Name one team that's won a championship with just 4 players. Somebody will say the Houston Comets. Somebody will say the Houston Comets, but that's actually not true. Okay, somebody will say the Los Angeles Sparks. They won their championship. That's actually not true. Did they have a big 4, a big 3? Absolutely. But when you look at those championship runs, you see 3, 4 deep on the bench. And so I think that's what JC Sheldon will possibly give Dallas if they go in that direction. It's just somebody who can come off for Ogunbowale and or Satu Sabali and in some spots, even the point guard. Number 6, Washington Mystics, Aaliyah Edwards. See, I actually, maybe before March Madness, I had Aaliyah Edwards being a top 5 pick. Her footwork, her energy, explosion around the basket. She runs the floor well. These are professional level attributes that GMs look at. So the fact that she fell to 6 probably had a lot to do with how some of the other players played and less about how she didn't play. But anyway, 6'3" out of UConn. Set that controversial pick. Let's not talk about that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. In the Elite Eight game with the chance to get to the Final Four. But to see Aaliyah Edwards play at her best, I saw her early and I saw her late. I saw them when Connecticut came to Austin to play my Longhorns, when Texas beat UConn, and Aaliyah Edwards was electrifying. So I think she has a pro-ready body. That's the upside. Great post player, can play stretch 4. That's what I love about her. Downside is I think there were some concerns about her consistency toward the end of the season. So could be fatigue, could be, who knows why players do whatever they do. But she will also need to develop a consistent 15-foot shot for when there's high-low opportunities, for when there are the opportunities for her to step out to short corner and shoot a face-up jumper. They love her IQ. They love how competitive, this is GMs, they love how competitive she is, and they love the work ethic. And then let's go back to what I said about Cameron Brink. There are some players you look at, and you look at where they came from, and you can make some determinations based on the fact that they played at certain institutions and how those players have done in the W. Connecticut has fared well for the most part in the W. So that's working for Aaliyah Edwards as well. Number 7, Minnesota Lynx, Angel Reese. 6'3". Some had Angel Reese being a top 5. But I think, again, if you watch any of my videos, you're not new here. You know I've been extremely upfront and honest about what I think about Angel Reese's game. I think Angel has a pro package, but I do not think her game is ready, is to the point where it's extremely ready for the WNBA. There will be some development, namely in her shot, right? Shooting is not something you can get better on a weekend in between games in the NCAA tournament. This is a commitment that Angel Reese will have to make. She's a tremendous rebounder, runs the floor fairly well. When she wants to, runs the floor really, really well. Athletic, intelligent around the basket, unstoppable off the boards. Offensively, we will have to see whether she is able to translate early in the WNBA. What do I mean by that? I mean, Angel doesn't have a face-up game. She does not even have a consistent 6 to 8 footer, let alone 10 to 12 or 15 footer. So she's going to be playing, if she plays a post, she's going to be playing against 6'6", 6'5", she's going to be playing against bigger, faster, stronger, better. That's my moniker. Bigger, faster, stronger, better. She's going to be playing against those players with limited skills. Okay, great rebounder. So rebound is going to translate no matter what. If Angel makes a place for herself as a tenacious rebounder, that's what I see her doing. That gives her the confidence to develop some of the other areas of her game. But she's going to have to figure out how to get better at scoring in the WNBA. So maybe she runs the floor. She's a rim runner while she's getting in the gym, in the lab, and working on her shot. I think Angel Reese will be fine. Minnesota, as I said in the previous video, if you're not serious about basketball, because that's been the criticism, that's been the downside of folks, GMs, when they've talked about Angel Reese and the conversations I've had with them, is like, is she ready to play basketball? Because she seems to be about all the other extracurricular stuff off the court. And they don't have an issue with that. But is she going to put in the time to be the professional that she can be? I'm saying you can't go to Minnesota without being serious about basketball, because Cheryl Reeve is not to be trifled with. Okay, moving on. Number 8, Chicago Sky. My girl Teresa Weatherspoon again. A pick from Atlanta via LA. Nayadu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. 6'3" forward from Australia, from the Southside Flyers. So the Sky are looking to get some swing guards, right? Some combos in the draft. And this is a 19-year-old athletic wing. What we love about the Aussies is that they're extremely competitive, hard-nosed. They bring a toolbox with them that is undeniable. They can shoot, they can pass, they can score, they can run all day. So that's what we're looking at. She's coming from the WNBL, which is the Australian Professional League, Women's National Basketball League over there. So she has great offensive decision making skills, and she's got a great track record as a player. She's only 19, so that's a good pickup. I like that pickup if that happens at number 8 by Chicago. Number 9, Dallas Wings. As I mentioned, if you were staying to the end, I'm going to be calling 20, I think at least 20 of the Dallas Wings games this season. So I'll be the go-to for what's happening in the Dallas Wings camp. But they're looking at Carla. Is this Liddy? It would be cool if it was Liddy, but I think it's Lighty. 5'9" guard from France. The Dallas Wings have done well with their picks, their imports, their guards, their players from overseas. So the roster crunch in Dallas, we know that Arike Ogunbowale and Satu Sabali, Odyssey Sims. I mean, the guard contingents in Dallas is very strong. But as I said earlier when I was talking about the Dallas Wings, you have to get some backups. Arike Ogunbowale should not be playing 39 minutes for 40 games. That should not be the case. That's going to show up. I don't care how great a shape you are in, that's going to show up at some point. Plus, you can't build a championship team just around 3 players who play all the minutes. So I like this pickup, getting a little bit younger at the guard spot, giving, maybe this person may not play a whole lot, even if I'm trying to see if they're coming over this year. But either way, you've got to get some meaningful backups at your key positions. All right, we talked about this last year with their post players in Dallas. You have to get some meaningful backups. We know that in Dallas, that's Stephanie Soares, who had been injured, player from Brazil, and then also played at Iowa State, I believe. I'm going off the dome, but poised to make her WNBA draft this season. So Dallas could be adding some great young guards. Final pick, number 10, Connecticut Sun, Alyssa Parker from Utah. Y'all know that I did an interview with Alyssa this season and really, really like her game. She's durable. She's versatile. She's not your traditional post player, even though she played that in Utah. She's 6'2", big body, strong body, very tough mentally. Projected to go to Connecticut. What I think about this pick, I think mentality-wise, hard hat, pail, lunch pail mentality, she fits Connecticut. She is a perfect fit. And that's all I have to say about that. I like Alyssa. Obviously, she's one of the few NCAA players that I interviewed on the channel this season. But I like her a lot. Can shoot, can set the pick and roll, can put the ball on the floor, can handle it all the way down the court. For me, she is a different version of maybe Alyssa Thomas. Not quite as skilled, not quite as finessed, but she possesses some of those skills. Number 11, New York Liberty. Nika Mule, 5'10" guard at UConn, who dazzled everybody in the tournament this year. Incredible in the tournament this year was Anika Mule with her defense more than anything, but also impressive offensively. She's strong, she's tough, she has the ability to knock down jumpers, but it was, the defense she put on Caitlin, the defense she put on Juju from USC, incredible. So she got some attention there. Most people, GMs that I talked to, were saying, she was kind of on our radar, but the way she showed up in the Elite Eight really, really solidified herself. And then finally, number 12, Atlanta Dream from Las Vegas via LA, Charisma Osborne, a guard out of UCLA, 5'9". A lot of people were thinking of Celeste Taylor, who played at Duke and then Ohio State. They thought about Shaylee Gonzalez, who played at Texas, long-range shooter, and we're thinking Charisma Osborne, who's a little bit more dynamic when it comes to that off-guard position. She can play make, she can hit the threes, and she can defend several positions. So if she goes to the Atlanta Dream, for me, you guys probably have heard me talk about getting the same kinds of players. She fits Atlanta, but at the same time, how many of those kind of players are you going to get? And maybe that's their goal, is to get, players who are very similar in that they wreak havoc in the same ways. I don't know. But I think Osborne needs to develop a more consistent three-point shot. I also believe that, like Caitlin Clark, there will be this tremendous learning curve when it comes to the guards and the different looks at guards that Charisma Osborne might have to defend, and also what she will see as a guard in the WNBA. She may see tall and lanky defending her. She may see a little bit smaller and quicker. She may see big 6'3" players guarding her, because that's the talent level in the WNBA. So that is first round WNBA picks, my analysis. Be sure to tune in to Scripps YouTube channel live after the draft. I'm going to break down what happened. We'll see you in the next one. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by to watch the video, but if you like this content, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe so that you can get notified for the next video. All right, we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Women's Basketball TV with Fran Harris, the most provocative and entertaining women's basketball show on earth. Be sure to click that like, share, and notification button so you don't miss a moment. We'll see you tomorrow.